Hello 1250 students, we are back at it with another video, and this time we'll be working on opening Photoshop and getting more familiar with things. At this pace, or at this time in the course, the pace is a little slower because we're building that foundation, and I firmly believe if we have a really good foundation of tools and layout, that it really keeps us more informed as we move forward and doing a much better job of understanding what's actually going on. So I have about 4 videos in this short module, and I like to keep them short because there's no use in having a 20-minute video because that I just lose my students at that point. So we're going to take it nice and slow, but do bite-sized chunks. So I have my screen sharing right now. I should probably shrink and go into the corner right now, but I want to walk you through how things are laid out. So here on this video module, I have it written and also in video. So previous semester students have requested this quite a few times. And once a few people request that, I know, hey, Aaron, I need to be doing this. So I have written instructions here as well. So you can either watch the video. I prefer the video. It just helps see it digitally and understand the different buttons I'm clicking, but it's also all spelled out here. And so I call things out in different groups like A, B, C, and D. But I'll be going over that in the video as well. Okay, so let's get Photoshop opened. So I'm just going to open, so I'm going to save my current file I'm in now. I'm just going to start from the beginning. So that's a little sneak peek of next week's lesson. Okay, so I am just going to, if you're on a Mac, just go ahead and quit Photoshop, and then I am going to reopen that. So just a few things about this is, it feels overwhelming at first, and I completely understand that. It looks like a spaceship control panel. It's not, but it feels like it sometimes. So I'm going to go through everything. I'm not going to blow through any concepts. We'll just take it really easy. So let's open a new file. So I just opened Photoshop, and I'm signed in. You can see here, if I hover my mouse here and click on this, or if I just click on it, it'll open up my Adobe account and I'll get all that information. I won't go too far into that, but you can see, welcome to your account, Aaron. I'm logged in as Weber State. I teach there as well. Works the same principle. Okay, so I do new file. But before we do that, let's go back and let's look what's going on here. Okay, so if I click home, I have an ad. We'll always have an ad here. Adobe's got to get that coin. And then just some additional knowledge things. So you can really ignore this. The most important part my students like is this recent tabs. This recent tab just lets you know, hey, you were working on this. Do you want to go back to it? It even says a timestamp. And then there's a learning tab if you want to learn more. You're welcome to do that. I'm hoping that I can be your teacher instead of Adobe, a little more personable. And then with files, you can save things to Adobe Cloud. I do not recommend it. And I have a few strong reasons why I do not recommend it. This interface changes consistently. We're talking monthly, and it's so hard for my students to navigate, and nobody uses it. People will use Dropbox, Google Drive. There's a whole slew of things people use, and using Adobe Cloud, people don't use. I've seen it used once in the profession with a graphic design team when I was an architect at a firm of about 100 people, and they were sharing files to interior designers and architects with Adobe Cloud, and it was a disaster. Nobody knew what was going on, and it didn't work well. So I would highly suggest not using that. If you want to, great, but just save your files locally and then back them up on Google Drive or whatever you have access to here at this institution. It changes so frequently. Okay, so new file, and we can edit right here. It's called our preset details, or I can go through. If I have any saved presets, they'll be there, but I can look at photo presets, print, art, illustration, web. So I want to show you how these change when I click on them. Do you see how our resolution is changing and our height? Okay, this isn't too important for this class, but I want you to know what it is. So if we were doing print media or photographs or illustrations, we'd want to pay attention to this, but primarily in this class, we'll be doing renderings or like floor plan edits, and those are pretty light things. And so what I like to do, and again, I'll usually provide the file for you to start with, but let's just make a letter size document. And so a letter-sized document is just a normal printer-sized piece of paper. And let's do inches, okay? And then if you want to follow along, you can. You don't need to. I would actually prefer you don't, so you can absorb the information. So just watch, relax, enjoy. Keep in mind, you can reference this at any time. I keep it available on YouTube. I don't monetize it, so there's no ads. I can't do that. But I keep it available so you can come back and visit this if you're no longer in my course. And so what I want to do is I want to make the width 11.5 and height 8. In resolution, web resolution is 72, and that works well, but I like to do 300. And the reason for 300 is if you're putting this in a portfolio, we want to make sure our images are saved to really crisp. And 300 is good. That's really good. And that's why I suggest doing it. So no more than 300, that's overkill. 300 is already a bit overkill, but that is super crisp and precise. And then my background color here, this is just what my bottom layer looks like. We can do transparent or custom, but for this course, we'll be keeping it on white. Okay, and then our color mode. So this can get a bit complex. This really goes into the interior design realm. But a few things about this is we have RGB color, and RGB is red, green, blue, and that is used for online purposes, okay? And then CMYK, those are used for print. It's a pain in the neck to say, so I remember it as being a long one. That's painful to say, CMYK. Okay, and then we have grayscale bitmap. We'll just be sticking with RGB color, and then 8-bit is fine. We won't go down that road. That's a whole nother topic, but just remember 8-bit's okay. And then color profile and pixel aspect ratio, we want square pixels, and we'll just skip the color profile and go for whatever's there. Okay, that again is a very complex topic, but that's really the rules of the game here. And I'm going to name this preset Aaron's preset. Okay, and that will save under saved right here. And I will click create. All right, so that really is getting started in opening Photoshop. I'm just going to go back to this module here and make sure we covered everything. But so we got all the groups A, B, C, and D. Okay, we already talked about all of this stuff. And then we clicked new file. And then we just learned about this interactive panel. Okay, if you have any questions on this, go ahead and let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.